Hello, my name is Karina and this is my perfume map. Today I want to share my Jennifer Lopez collection. I have 6 Jennifer Lopez fragrances with the idea that I will pick up more as I see them or as they come my way. I've enjoyed collecting different celebrity fragrances. I find that each celebrity brand kind of has its own style, and when I think of Jennifer Lopez fragrances, I think of like clean scents that are still kind of fun and playful, but they are like a little bit more mature than, say, maybe Britney Spears Fantasy, and they aren't quite as like posh smelling as Paris Hilton. So I have enjoyed JLo fragrances. I don't really actually know that much about Jennifer Lopez. I do have kind of a connection to Jennifer Lopez, and I'll tell you that at the end. Anyway, the first one that came out is Glow, and this was originally put out by Coty, and the perfumer is Louise Turner, and Louise Turner is a well-known perfumer. Just off the top of my mind, she created Tom Ford Lost Cherry. That's like a very popular perfume. And this has top notes of neroli, orange blossom, and grapefruit, jasmine, rose, tuberose, musk, sandalwood, orris root, amber, and vanilla. This is a very clean fragrance. I think on the box even there's a picture of JLo. Sort of looks like she's stepping out of the shower. A lot of people call this soapy. They'll call it Dove soap. It really, to me, smells a lot like the Body Shop Rain and China Rain. Somewhere in that range. It smells a lot like Rain. And Rain from the Body Shop was my signature scent, I guess you could say, in the 90s. So I like this very much. I think she kind of took that idea and ran with it, because if you think of like Body Shop fragrances, you could get them in like a perfume spray, but most of the time it was a perfume oil or a fragrance oil. I think this was a good idea, and I think that this sort of scent has been very popular. It has kind of a street vendor oil kind of scent too. Like you could imagine maybe smelling something like this in New York City from a street vendor or from like a little shop, like a perfume oil place. I really like it. It's nice and floral. It's very clean. You either really like this or it's too soapy for you, but this has been a hit. And I mentioned that this was put out by Coty. All of Jennifer Lopez fragrances are now owned by designer perfumes, and I'll talk about that a little bit too. So the next one that I have is Miami Glow, and this has been really popular. This one I made a little zine about it in another video. This is like a city beach scent, and I say city because there's just something about it that reminds me of like car wax and juice, and there's orange blossom. There's like a suntan lotion smell and kind of a car waxy smell and a juice smell. It just kind of smells like a good hot summer day on a beach that's in a city. Like Miami Glow is a really good name. The first time I smelled this, I thought it was weird. It's grown on me over time, but it is kind of a weird smelling perfume. But I really like it. It smells like a good time. It's very long lasting. It projects. And this was considered to be discontinued for a while, but it's pretty easy to get now. And for a while, it was pretty expensive, like if you tried to buy it on eBay or something, but I'm fairly certain it's still only around $20 today. Oh, and the perfumer behind this is Carolyn Sabas, who also made probably my favorite celebrity fragrance, which is Midnight Fantasy by Britney Spears. The next one I have is Live, and this is from 2005. And I think one of the coolest things about this fragrance is the perfumer is Dominique Ropion. This is mostly a pineapple scent. It has pineapple, lemon, orange, red currant blossom, peony violet with caramel, sandalwood, tonka bean, and vanilla. And this just, there's a very specific image that I get in my mind when I smell this perfume. And that it smells like a villa, like a resort villa, where there's some sort of pineapple cake, pineapple muffins, some sort of pineapple thing baking in the background. But there's also a big soapy sink for dishwashing, like a big soapy sink while you're doing dishes. There's like a distinct dish soap and baked good scent, and it just smells like you're on vacation, you're making baked goods, you're cleaning up your Airbnb or your resort, wherever you are. Somebody's cleaning it for you if you're fancy. It smells really good. It also is a little odd. Like, all of her fragrances to me are like a little, like they're a little bit, they're a little edgy in a way. This isn't like what you expect from a lot of celebrity fragrances, where a lot of times they're very user-friendly. They maybe are very fruity and sweet. This definitely smells elevated, and it does smell kind of fancy and soapy. I think she must enjoy a soapy scent. Now, the next one that I want to show you is Still. I've talked about this a few times, and I did make a video recently about celebrity scents that I think have been discontinued based on like what I've read and just also what I think. Please understand that I don't know anything more than anybody else would know just from looking at the internet. And a lot of these are just my thoughts, but I think this fragrance has been discontinued. I still believe that. That doesn't mean that you can't get it. You can. And I wanted to kind of talk about my thoughts on that. But anyway, this is an Earl Grey tea scent. It also has white pepper and mandarin orange and apple. Right, it has a rice note. It's got jasmine, lily of the valley, freesia, honeysuckle, orange blossom, and rose. Pepper, musk, sandalwood, iris, and amber. This is a strange perfume because I think this smells really good if my husband wears it. And he does wear it. He does like kind of tea scents, and they smell great on him. When I wear this, and even when I sniff it on paper, this just kind of smells like an Elizabeth Arden green tea fragrance. And maybe not the original green tea, but like something in that line. Like this would fit perfectly in there. And it is a tea fragrance, so that makes sense. But when my husband wears it, I do smell specifically Earl Grey. Like, but on me, I feel like this smells very soapy, orange blossomy, citrusy, very fresh. Anyway, I think this has been discontinued, but I think you can still get it for a long time. And here are my thoughts on this. If you look at the website Designer Perfumes that owns Jennifer Lopez fragrances, the only ones they list are Glow, and they talk about that just being such a hit, and I think they even like re-released Glow recently, and the 3 new ones. There's one called like The One, and I don't know. I haven't smelled any of those, and I'll get them if I ever see them at like Ross or something. I've looked, but they don't list Still. They don't list any of these other ones, and I just don't know how relevant Jennifer Lopez will be to like the future fragrance consumer. Some celebrity brands can go on forever, like Elizabeth Taylor. Like, those are going to probably sell for a long time, but I kind of put them in a different category because, you know, Elizabeth Taylor sort of created the celebrity fragrance market. I mean, I know that there were maybe fragrances before that came out by celebrities, but Elizabeth Taylor really is the one that made it happen. And JLo Glow maybe is like kind of the modern pioneer of celebrity fragrances. Like, Glow was really successful too. Maybe paved the way for a lot of other celebrity fragrances. But at the same time, I don't know how much people think about JLo. I'll be honest, I don't even really know if JLo is considered to be an actor, a singer, or a dancer. I don't really know. I don't even think I've ever seen a JLo movie. I have seen the JLo documentary about her relationship with Ben Affleck. And you might be like, why would you watch that if you don't even know who JLo is and you haven't seen her movies? This is going to sound incredibly stupid, this story. I'm about to tell you why I think I have a connection to JLo. Okay, I watched that because we watch a lot of Ben Affleck movies. And the reason why we watch a lot of Ben Affleck movies, I'm telling you, get ready. This is going to be a really stupid story, okay? My husband looks a whole lot like Ben Affleck. And you might be thinking, sure he does. Like, I bet he barely looks like Ben Affleck. No, my husband looks so much like Ben Affleck that I asked him, when I told him I was going to mention this in this video, I said to him, how many times a week would you say that strangers tell you that you look like Ben Affleck? And he was like, are you calling people that like come into my workplace strangers? And I'm like, yeah, you can include that. And he goes, oh, like once or twice a day. Like once or twice a day, people tell my husband that he looks like Ben Affleck. And I was recently in an elevator with my husband, and it was like a lot of people came in, and we kind of like moved over to the side. Like my husband was kind of right by the, you know, the numbers, and I was kind of standing behind him. And this man, I saw him look over at my husband and kind of like furrow his brow, and he looked away, and then he looked at my husband again, and then he looked at me, and then he looked at my husband looked at him, and the guy said, you know what I'm about to say, right? And I said, oh, I know what you're about to say. And then that guy started saying what actor people say he looks like. It was like a totally weird conversation. He didn't even have to say it, because people say this to my husband so often. They say it to him at the airport. They say it to him when we go out to eat. When I was giving birth to our children, nurses would come in just to get a glimpse and then laugh and be like, he does. Like, my husband looks so much like Ben Affleck. So that is my connection to JLo. We were both married to somebody who has very specific facial features. And you know what's even funny about that is, you know how like on TikTok and stuff, people will say like, oh, this is my type, this is my husband. I don't even think like Ben Affleck is quote unquote my type. I would say like in general, just tall, dark, and handsome would be my type. But I'm such a doof that when I met my husband, I think I just found that he looked very familiar. Like, he looked very familiar. I kept thinking that. And I was kind of like, I don't know, it seemed cozy. I just moved to, I'd been in Chicago for about a year. And, you know, he just seemed familiar to me. And I realized, like, after we got together, oh, he looks familiar because he totally looks like an actor. Like, it's not like he looked like someone from my hometown or like, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, that's my stupid story. The next one I'll show you is Jlux. I just got this pretty recently, and I bought this one at Ross, and I just bought it because I never had seen these in the store before, and I know that these people said these were discontinued before. All of these that look like that, there's 3 of them. Jlux, Jlust, and JLove. And they were going for big money on eBay. So when I saw this one for $12.99, I thought, well, I'll pick it up. They're all back. They're all at Fragrance Net for about $17 each, or look at Ross. This is the only one that I saw at Ross, and I went into Ross another time and saw this one again. So they definitely have it. This is a pretty good perfume. This came out in 2015, and it has pineapple. Again, she must like pineapple. Pineapple, raspberry, bergamot, violet, ylang ylang, orris root, damask rose, amber, musk, and cedar. And you definitely can smell the pineapple. It smells like it has patchouli in it too. It definitely smells like a pineapple fruit chuli, but you can also smell the rose. It does remind me of, you know, like a 2010 to 2020 kind of nighttime dark going out perfume. It sort of smells like Into the Night. It sort of smells like Livia Bell. It sort of smells like Black Opium in a way. It sort of smells like Rebel Fleur by Rihanna. It smells sort of like Kim Kardashian Gold, you know, that just spicy, kind of dark, fruity fragrance. I don't know if it's worth picking up, but if you can find it for $12.99, it's a good fragrance. This one, Jlust, which is on Fragrance Hunt, I just got it for like $15. Also came out in 2015. And this is interesting because the perfumer is Fabrice Pellegrin. And that is a very hot and popular perfumer. Like, they made almost every hit for Diptyque, including L'Eau Papier and like Duson, like almost all of them. And that perfumer also created Scandale by Jean Paul Gaultier, which I recently bought on Mercari because I liked that one so much. I had a sample, I had a little perfume oil of it, and I really wanted to have it. I finally found a good deal on Mercari and I got it. So I like Fabrice Pellegrin, clearly. I don't own L'Eau Papier yet because there's a lot of good Bath & Body Works dupes for it, but I will get it. I have bought a sample or a little decant on Scent Split. But anyway, yeah, so Fabrice Pellegrin also made this, and he hasn't made like a ton of inexpensive celebrity perfumes, so I would pick this up. This is really good too. It does kind of smell like an Ariana Grande perfume, like either God is a Woman or Thank You Next or Ari. I can't tell you exactly which one, but it has strawberry, apple blossom, mandarin orange, white peach, vanilla orchid, jasmine, tonka bean, Toulouse balsam, and musk. This has like a strawberry, marshmallowy, musky fragrance, definitely. But what's really, really interesting is in the dry down, it kind of has a spicy tonka bean sweet fragrance. This completely changes over the course of the wear. And I mean, like 5 hours later, I was like, what perfume did I put on? And then I remembered it was this one. And then I tried it again because I thought that is a really big change. And this is very good. It does kind of smell like an Ariana Grande fragrance, but it's good. I think it's worth $15. And I do think that these fragrances are all discontinued, except for Glow. And again, you can think that I'm wrong. You can say that they're easy to get. But from my experience, well, eventually I'll be right, no matter what, right? Eventually everything will get discontinued. But I think that these are discontinued because I think that the reason why these came back is I don't think they were re-released. I think that a big bunch of them were found. And I have some experience. You know, I've mentioned before that I am a top-rated seller on eBay. I like to say top-rated so people know, like, I really know what I'm doing when it comes to, like, selling stuff on the internet. Like, I'm good at it. I have good customer service. I sell a lot of stuff. But the way I started selling on eBay is my husband and I, we bought a building. I'm being kind of vague because I don't want to give, you know, too much information. And the building was full of stuff when we looked at it. And it was like an odd kind of real estate transaction. So we had to like do all these things. And when we finally closed on it, the person representing that seller told us, I just went by the property. It's been totally cleaned out. Here's the keys. And we were like, okay, great. Anyway, so when we went to the space, that was completely false. It was full to the ceiling, still with stuff. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if we should get like multiple dumpsters, if we should rent a truck and just take the stuff somewhere, if we should just cry. But what I ended up figuring out was everything in there was in cases, and it was cases and cases and cases of a very specific supplies for a hobby. And again, I'm being kind of vague. So what I ended up doing is putting this stuff on eBay. That's actually how I started on eBay, because I had boxes and boxes of what they call new old stock, because these were hobby supplies from the 90s, and they sold. I'm still selling them actually, but a lot of the stuff flew out of there. And it made me realize a lot of things. Like, I learned a lot from that experience. And one thing that I learned is everything that's pretty much been created is still here. And there's probably new cases of it everywhere. Not everywhere, but there's probably warehouses of the stuff. Like there is probably still warehouses full of JLo fragrances, and they might be bought and sold and found and given to FragranceNet or Ross. You just don't know. You don't know how many bottles there are because nobody tells us. And it could be around for a long time, but it doesn't look like the new owner of JLo Perfumes is going to keep selling all of them. So I don't want to create FOMO, but I just want to let you know that these are still all available, and these seem to be kind of newly available, and they're pretty good, especially Jlust. I could probably skip JLux. The JLove, the perfumer, is honoring Blanc. But when I read about that one on Fragrantica, they compared it to Viva La Juicy, which is also an honoring Blanc fragrance, and Nicki Minaj Pink Friday, which is also an honoring Blanc fragrance. So I just thought, well, I'm pretty sure I know what that one smells like, and if I see it at Ross, I will pick it up, but I don't think I'm going to buy it on FragranceNet. Anyway, these are all my JLo fragrances. Tell me what you have in the comments if you have any. Tell me what your favorite one is. Tell me if you're going to try to get any of these little cute cubes, or if there's a JLo fragrance that I don't have that you would recommend. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you real soon. Subscribe.